I will put up the agenda in a few minutes because there is a change. On January 20th, 2023, Mayor Adams issued Executive Order 315, extending the state of emergency through February 19th, 2023. Accordingly, boards are able to continue to act under the state of emergency section of the video conferencing law. This allows the board to continue remotely. Minutes and video recording will be available on our website. If you are calling into the meeting on the conference call, controls while joining from the landline or a cell by calling the dial-up numbers as follows. To hear all available commands, enter ** on your phone, *6, mute or unmute yourself, *9, virtually raise your hand. We will run the meeting as follows. Code of conduct for meetings. Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove and or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or block participation of anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive images or language, personal attacks, threats, or any behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board, executive committee, or any other assigned committee for a ban of the participant in the event of repeated disruptive behavior. If in-person outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authorities will be summoned. Everyone beside the speaker or the presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by pressing the raised hand button on your screen or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Members of the public who have joined through the online link will be able to ask questions and make a brief statement on the item after each presentation and after the committee has held an opportunity to ask clarifying questions by pressing the raised hand button on your screen or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed at the next meeting. Granted, there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Following the question.
Barbara, you lost audio.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right, we will stay on topic with the agenda items. I read that, I believe. Following the questions, discussion, and public comment portion, the committee will begin their discussions after each presentation or agenda item and will conclude with the decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. If there are any questions relating to the meeting or the software or to our process, please use the chat function or raise hand function now or contact the deputy district manager. Okay, thank you for your patience on that one. And what I will do is to put up the agenda first because we have an addition that did not get sent out to everybody. So hold on 1 minute. Okay, and I will let you know where it is. Under Department of Parks and Recreation, we added pickleball courts at Williamsbridge Oval. You'll hear about that. Can I have an okay from the committee for the amended agenda?
I approve them. Sasha approve.
Second, Betty.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so we will go with that agenda. Oh, what happened?
Did you take attendance?
No, I'm coming to that. Oh, okay. Next thing will be my attendance. Okay. Barbara is present. I'm here. Tasha Andrews,
Tasha's present.
thank you. Betty Arce,
Betty Arce present.
thank you. Daisy Perry,
Daisy Perry present.
thank you. Gwendolyn Thomas Steed. Gwendolyn? No?
Present,
Oh, okay,
Wednesday present.
thank you. Ruth Caraballo,
Present.
thank you. And Toby Buford,
Toby Buford present.
sorry, I messed up your name. Okay, Toby Buford, thank you, Toby.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
so we have everybody here, that's great. All right. Okay. All right, next item on the agenda will be the review of last month's minutes. Okay, hold on 1 minute, please. Agenda. Okay. Okay, this is from our January meeting. I'll scroll down slowly. As you recall, we had the Amateur Astronomers Association about the public observatory at Jerome Park. They did a presentation for us. We were in favor of having it at that location. Okay, and we had some questions about complaints for the condition of some of the areas, and we had some reports about the recreation centers, all right? And David Rosa was here representing the Friends about a visioning session, which you'll hear about later. All right, do I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
Motion to accept as presented.
Betty, okay, do we have a second?
I
Seconded
second
by
Barbara.
Gwen.
Okay, thank you. All right, I guess we should vote on that. Okay. Okay. Okay, no. All right, I accept the minutes, Barbara Stronza. And Tasha Andrews,
Tasha Andrews accepts the minutes.
thank you. And Betty Arce,
Betty Arce accepts the minutes.
thank you. And Daisy Perry,
Daisy Perry accepts the minutes.
thank you. Gwendolyn Thomas Steed. Gwendolyn? When?
She's on the phone, so probably she'll.
Oh, okay, she'll come on. Ruth Caraballo,
I accept the minutes.
thank you. And Toby Buford,
I accept the minutes.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, the minutes are accepted as presented. All right. All right, we'll move the agenda then. Follow-up from last month. As you know, we had more than a few requests about trees, why we still have dead trees, why we still have empty tree pits, and what's being done. Do we have anybody on from Parks that could give us some information about trees? Now, I did ask for a tree list, and I'll show you what they sent me, or they sent to Carla anyway. Here we go. And I expected to get a list for the whole board area. This is what they sent. This is spring planting, it's 2023. As you see, it only covers Norwood, and basically it's all Norwood. And we have a huge board, and I'm just wondering what happened to our other neighborhoods. So if there's somebody on from forestry, Joe, you
Hi.
said you were gonna get Tyler?
Hi there, Tyler Wilcox here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, yes.
Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, Tyler Wilcox, Director of Bronx Forestry. Thanks again, Joe, for making the connection here. So I did reach out to our counterpart out of Central Forestry, which is the planting team who provided that list to you. It does sound like they are currently surveying empty pits, which we have been, the Bronx office has been helping to facilitate by setting locations. So if there are particular locations would like to inquire about to determine whether or not they have either been received as far as the request, surveyed, or found viable for planting and placed onto a contract, we're happy to help with those updates. And with regards to actual planting numbers, I know that Bronx specifically was low on contracts. I believe that has since changed, and you should be expecting to see plantings pick up this coming season, as well as throughout the course of the fiscal year. Some of you may have also have seen the recent article with planting numbers. Come this next spring season, we are looking to see an increase in planting numbers. Unfortunately, that is to the depth of which I can provide information on, seeing that it's not our actual program. But again, any questions you do have, we're happy to facilitate and make the proper connections, and again, provide updates.
Okay, Tyler, in the past, before the last couple of years, we used to get a tree list for the board area.
Mhm.
Will we start to receive that, or do we have to ask? Now, you say there would be a few more planting sites in our board area. Will we know where they are or whatever? I mean, they used to be 2 pages long,
Yep.
and now it's almost nothing.
That particular list was pushed through pretty quickly, and if you have not been made aware, the senior forester for the Bronx planting team, Tyler Gibson, he has since moved on to a new position. So there was a gap in management. So understanding that, allow me to reach out and just make sure that that list that update that you all receive has not fallen through the cracks, and we can make sure that continues.
Okay, Tyler, what is your position again with forestry?
Sure thing. I'm the Director of Forestry for Bronx Forestry Operations. And so just to help
Okay.
Provide some context there, we oversee the actual tree maintenance as well as tree maintenance contracts and emergency management. So that does not include tree planting or trees and sidewalks, which is out of our Central Forestry office. But again, they are our counterparts, and we often coordinate and facilitate. So we're happy to help out there.
Okay, do we have any questions for Tyler?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
Barbara.
Betty, go ahead.
Tyler, thank you for coming this evening. So I just heard you say that is the maintenance of street trees under your jurisdiction?
Correct, yes.
So we do have a lot of misuse and abuse of our street trees, which is, I think, a big contention among a lot of us in the community, where we see a lot of dog waste, garbage, not enough. Some of the actual trees, the roots are beginning to pop up outside of the tree pit. We need to get some of those trees. We need to get the tree pits expanded for some of those trees. I have some concerns about trees that are really very, very old, that are really just growing right out of the, right onto the sidewalk. I don't know how we're going to manage those. So would those be like, trees that require mulching, maybe some soil amendment, expansion of the tree pit for that? Is that something that you're going to be handling, or should we provide you with that information when we know it? As well as people have been not planting, but putting tiles, stones, cementing. It looks very pretty, but it's damaging to the tree. And so we have a couple of those where they need to actually, someone's gonna have to go in with, I think, a jackhammer and actually remove those decorative stones that have been put in with what looks like concrete around some of the trees that we have on 204th Street.
Mhm.
So would that be something, if we were to provide you with that information, a list of where some of these things need to be addressed?
Yeah, thanks for that, Betty. You actually hit on quite a few things. That's really good, and happy to receive requests that are pro tree. It's often the opposite, so this is quite refreshing. With regards to your last point, whenever we see paving over of the tree pits, let's just use that generally. That is something our office will oversee directly. Any type of tree work like that requires a permit, and so yes, if you could send us a list, we'd be happy to go out, inspect those locations, see if there is a permit on file. If a permit was pulled, that the proper construction techniques are in place, and if not, we will actually proceed with either summonses, mitigation, such as removing the material as or a combination of the both.
Okay, so I'm sorry, a person could get a permit to do some pavement around the tree pit? Is that what you're saying?
We do allow certain materials. For example, if it's a minimally invasive cobblestone or permeable material, we will
Okay.
allow that. But to your point, if they are completely paving over it with concrete, that's definitely going to result in decline of the tree.
Right.
Through stress, and we would enforce removal.
Okay, so we'll work on, Barbara, I'd like to work on doing, going around.
Yes, I have a few sites also. I will put the list together and get them to you, Tyler. All right, I have a few more hands. Go ahead, Chad.
Hi, good evening.
Go
Let
ahead.
me turn the water off real quick. Okay. Hi, good evening, Barbara. Thank you for showing up today. I have a question in the comments. For one, do you deal with trees that uproot the sidewalk? As far as there's a couple of areas, and I wanted to find out. So if we have a few trees in the neighborhood, could we report those to you?
Yes, so that can be reported through 311. Our inspection coordinates with the Trees and Sidewalks program. And it is the Trees and Sidewalks program that oversees the actual contracts and construction work. Just a couple quick notes on that. A reminder for those who are not familiar with the Trees and Sidewalks program. The Parks' Trees and Sidewalks program, only tax class 1 properties are eligible. Those are typically 1 to 3 family owned homes that are non-business. If it is a non-tax class 1 property, it is the property owner's responsibility to maintain that sidewalk. However, my office does provide services such as consultations and assistance with the retroactive claim packages in order to get reimbursed, since it is a city asset, which is the tree, which is causing damage, of which a monetary requirement to repair that sidewalk was necessary. So short answer, yes. Always send and if unsure of if the property is eligible, please send a 311 request in. We'll get that inspected. If eligible, it'll be enrolled automatically into the Trees and Sidewalks program. I like to just be realistic and remind everyone that is also an extremely popular program with limited funding when considering the city as a whole. So the wait time is extensive, but there is the other option of hiring a private contractor, scheduling a consultation with my office, and allowing my office to assist in facilitating repairs, in addition to helping the property owner with the claims process.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. And the next, I also had another comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Bailey Avenue between Cedric all the way down toward 225th.
Mm-hmm.
There's several trees alongside the gate of an empty lot, and even some trees that are in their own pits.
Mm-hmm.
They often overgrow over the sidewalk, where if you're 6 foot tall or higher, you can't walk through without bending down.
Got it.
So I'm just wondering if
are these Sorry, if I'm recalling correctly, these are older trees or these newly planted trees?
These are older trees.
Older trees, yeah. So typically our block pruning contract, which occurs once every 7 years, should take care of that. However, due to, a variety of reasons, whether it's response growth on the tree or an issue with the contractor not having performed work correctly, please submit a request for that. We do have requirements where we are to provide clearance pruning for egress along the sidewalk. So yes, that is something we can take care of if you just go ahead and report that through 311.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Toby,
thank you.
Toby, go ahead.
Thank you, Barbara. I have a question about trees that are in front of businesses. I noticed that along Fordham Road, trees, I don't know if they've been knocked down due to natural disasters or if they've been knocked down due to people not wanting them there. But what is the process and who's responsible for that tree that's in front of a business? Please. And what can be done?
Are you talking
about it.
generally as far as maintaining the tree? Is that the question?
Yes, I'm talking about, yes, that's part of, I would like an answer for that too. But I would really like to know, is it the responsibility of the city? Like, in other words, can an owner of a business that does not want a tree in front of their
Got it.
property, can they just knock it down?
Got it. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. So two things there. This city, and specifically the New York City Parks Department, is responsible and has jurisdiction for the maintenance of and preservation of city trees within the right of way. So regardless of what type of property the tree is in front of, if it's a city street tree, it does fall under our jurisdiction. Any proposed tree work does require a permit, which you can submit online just by going to the Parks Department website. I will say, however, we do not allow the removal of healthy trees unless it's an unavoidable design conflict related to critical infrastructure. An example there being if DDC needs to replace a broken water main pipe, and there is no other design option other than removing a tree in order to do the installation, that's something we would approve. But DDC is also, that entity would also be responsible for the replacement costs associated with the benefit loss of that tree. And that's actually tied into our local law. So that's not just a parks rule specifically, that's actually tied to local law. So the short answer to that question, the city maintains the trees. If there's tree work that needs to be done, whether to mitigate risk or for relative maintenance of the tree, that is something the park should handle. If it's something the property owner wants to take upon themselves, we do often permit work simply because they want to add their own touch to it, as long as it's within ANSI standards, or they do not feel like waiting for when that work gets put onto a contract or in-house crews get there. And then the last caveat there being, Parks does not permit the removal of healthy trees.
Okay, thank you. Tyler, off the top of your head, could you give us a ballpark figure of if someone called 311 and said there was an empty pit that they would like a tree placed, what is the wait time about for Bronx County?
Yep, I would honestly have to consult with the tree planting team. There's a few variables there, such as contractor availability, funding, and resource availability, number of trees we have at our nurseries.
So a person could wait a real long time after calling 311 is what you're saying?
Yes, I would say the reason I'm not providing an exact answer is because I know that specifically in the Bronx, there is a push to plant more trees and get contracts underway. So I believe Art Simpson and Nick Zito had reached out to the group with the numbers. That Nick Zito is the deputy director of tree planting. He would be the appropriate contact for any direct questions related to the program. And again, if you need help facilitating that contact and getting some answers, we can push those through for you.
Okay, thank you. We have two more questions. Sirio, it's your turn. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, Tyler. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You have inherited a community disaster. Yeah.
right.
Back in 2019, I submitted 33 dead trees to 311. And to this day, 25 of those trees are still standing on the sidewalks, have never been cut down.
Mhm.
These trees have your symbolic little white diamond nailed
The
into
tag.
them.
Yep.
What I want to know is, what is the policy, being that you're the man in charge, to how long is a community supposed to wait for these trees to be cut?
Yep.
I put in these trees back in 2019. It is now 2023.
Mhm.
I think that is an insult. Okay, I'm not on the community board. I am a taxpaying citizen of this borough.
Mhm.
Okay, I am also a very active volunteer in maintaining street trees. I have a permit to do that. I got a pruner's permit.
Oh, great. Awesome.
But my problem is that these trees have been dead
Mhm.
for well over 5 years, since 2019. They got the diamonds on them. What is the average time limit from once the diamond is nailed into the tree when they come back to cut it?
Sure thing. Are you familiar with our tree risk management program? If not, I can take a couple minutes to elaborate and also inform you of where it is. So
You say that again? You're
sure,
what?
sure thing. Can you? I'll bring the phone closer. So our forestry division operates under what's called the tree risk management program. Knowing that we do not have the resources to get to every single complaint right away, what we make sure to do is inspect it within a reasonable time frame. If you're seeing those tags in those trees, that shows that they have been inspected. From there, they receive what's called a risk rating. We look at a number of parameters such as occupancy rate of the area, the consequence if that tree or tree part were to fail, and the likelihood of that tree or tree part failing. That all goes in and results in a risk rating between 1 and 12, 12 being the worst, 1 being the least worst. And from there, we prioritize that work. So if it is an extremely hazardous condition, something we would rate really high, that's something we would get, within several days. If it's what we call a category B, which is not imminent, but it is of concern, we will get that within 28 days. And then what it sounds like is for the case for these trees, if it falls into our lower categories, meaning the risk is not imminent and significant given the time frame and the potential consequence and occupancy rate, it'll range anywhere from 120 days plus. And the reason for that is because even when we transitioned into the tree risk management program, we started with a backlog, and that's actually why we transitioned into that tree risk management plan. Why that backlog was exacerbated is, as everyone was aware, during COVID times, we completely lost our tree maintenance funding. So another thing we use to accommodate for, I guess you could say, lacking resources to get to everything, right away. We do utilize our tree maintenance contracts to help with our backlog of tree removals, site-specific prunings, etc. And so with what you're saying, I'm going to guess that these are lower rated trees, which is why you've still seen them there for that long. However, again, understanding this is something that's been prolonged, if you do have locations of some of these trees, I would like to look into them a little deeper for you, make sure nothing's being missed. And
they were sent to you people.
Well,
Okay,
so
they were sent. They should be on your computer.
Well, they
So
are.
hold on, Tyler, real quick. I just wanted to have serial, my man. Listen, first of all, I wanted to tell you they changed my number. So if you've been texting me, I haven't been ignoring you. Second of all, I've mentioned this to you in the past, though, Siri. Unfortunately, this tree manager, the risk, there's nothing he could do. You know what I mean? The foresters go out, they're professionals. So we'll look at a tree, me and you, I don't know nothing about a tree. I know that the bottom's brown and the top's green. That's what I know about a tree. So we may think it's necessary that that tree is removed immediately, but they're using, I mean, these are national standards, correct, Tyler? This is what the
Correct.
country uses, like tree
Yep.
professionals. This is what tree
Internet-
professionals around the
internet, yeah.
around the country use. So it's not that anybody's looking to neglect it or put it on the back burner. It's kind of just how they're working, you know?
Okay.
But
Thank
the
you, Joe, for
community
clarifying.
has these pits that are pre-cut and raring to go, but they're being occupied by dead trees. Now you want to plant fresh trees. We would like to see in the community.
Siri,
I
I
don't
might be
speak for
able to answer
myself.
that question for you.
You
Sorry,
know.
sorry to interrupt you. One thing that is under the tree planting contract is tree removal. So a dead standing tree that is ready to go, that is in our system for removal, that will not prevent a tree from being planted in that space, so long as there is a planting request for that location.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to move the questions. Elizabeth, go ahead.
Hi, going back to, I just want to go back to the concrete poured tree pits. So what Betty was talking about, so we do also have a list, which I'll submit over to Community Board 7, so you guys can have it as well. But there is a specific area where the trees have been under poured concrete for over a year now, and the concrete was actually poured when the businesses to that particular block of trees were empty. As a matter of fact, they had renovated that street with new businesses, and those businesses were empty. So I don't want to assume, but what we were thinking of, it was probably the contractor, the developer of these areas that they built, that they went ahead thinking they were doing the right thing. I know for a fact they would not have gotten a permit because they literally covered the entire tree pit with concrete.
It's,
So I have
could I just ask one quick question so I can think
Sure.
about that way? Were these empty tree pits?
No, they weren't.
Okay.
No, these are new trees. They were planted there. And then when they finished with the small business renovation, again, there was no small business rented yet. It was an open space.
Okay.
That's when they were poured over. There's a few of them. There's I think like 4 or 5 of them. It's between Perry Avenue and Hall on 204th Street.
Okay.
But I do have 2 questions. So my question is, once you do investigate those trees, what's the timeline to break up that concrete and remove them? And the other question is, does the contractor become, do they get fined or what? Because it's been over a year now.
That's a really good question, and that's where we actually do reach out to the community and ask for the community to assist us in these situations. So if we're talking after the fact, so there's not an open permit or the work is not currently happening, we are unable to pursue unless provided with evidence. And so if there is video footage, even Google Street View will sometimes capture it if you get lucky. Local cameras from other businesses across the street, you name it. If there, or a witness statement, even if there is some piece of evidence or someone is willing to come forward and complete a witness statement, we can then pursue action against the property owner or the contractor, depending on who is responsible. At minimum, if we are unable to pursue damages through legal means because of lack of evidence, we can still work with the property owner to mitigate the impacts due to construction around those trees within those tree pits.
Okay.
But do you guys remove the concrete or does the property owner remove the concrete?
We would have to work with the property owner to remove the concrete. Yes, we do not have a mechanism to do that.
Okay. Thank you. We'll have one more question. AJ, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just wondering what's the process of reporting unauthorized plantings in the parks? As when I have personally called 311 a couple times, they don't have records of certain trees or plantings in these locations at all.
That's a good one because any tree planting does require permits so that we can put it into our geospatial system. Is this?
There's
Is
a
this
lot of
something-
shrubs and trees around Marshall Parkway that need some repair. So when I call, they have no records of them, and I'm like staring at a tree. I know there's a tree there.
Are these newer trees or older trees?
I would say around the pandemic till now.
Okay. If it is a viable tree within the city right of way, we can definitely have that inspected and worked into our system. If it is, something we're concerned about, such as invasives being planting, that's something we could also handle. This one specifically, just because it's kind of a gray area for us, where if, again, unless we catch someone in the act of planting that material or tree, there's not much we can do from an enforcement perspective. But I will say, if you ever see that in the act, to take photos or a video, so that we can follow up and take appropriate action. Even call Pep or Joe. But in this case, if you could actually send some photos over with location information, we would actually like to get eyes on that, just to see exactly what's going on, whether it's our internal team not logging those trees correctly, or if that is indeed someone planting trees randomly.
I'm sorry, because I was told that was illegal. I believe it's like a new trend of just going and like planting things, and there's no records of it. So I believe it's happening to be unsafe.
A permit is required. You are correct. Yes, in order to plant trees within the city right away.
Bob, can you ask him to leave his contact information? And thank you for answering our questions, Todd.
Yes. We have one more question, I think. Tasha, did you have a question? Okay.
I did, but I don't know if it's for this gentleman. It has to do more with the football fields, with the sports fields than with trees. So I just put it on the chat for it to be asked, but not particularly
Okay,
for
I
Tyler.
think Joe will be able to answer that a little later. Okay, Tyler, I would like to thank you for coming to our meeting. It has been a long time since we have had a representative from forestry, and we always get more than a few questions. We have a lot of tree lovers in the area, as well as a lot of park volunteers. So it's great to see you. We hope you will come back in the future again, and thank you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And what I'll do, I heard the request. I'm going to send Joe multiple routes of contacts depending on what services are being requested for your office. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Well, the public needs your information too.
Exactly.
Yep,
Well, they can get it through the community board,
Well,
right?
I've done that already, and I see nothing has been done. So I like direct contact.
Okay, well, we have a new person,
volunteer work.
Sirio, so maybe you will see things being done. Okay, good luck to you, Tyler.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. All right, we'll move the agenda. I believe we have a new item, which I mentioned before, relating to pickleball courts at Williamsbridge Oval. So Catherine Barone, are you on?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Okay, good. Do you want to go?
Sure.
Tell us what this is about.
So we've received, good evening, everyone. Catherine Barone from Commissioner Ponte's office in New York City Parks. We have been receiving a few requests for pickleball courts, precisely from seniors who attend Williamsbridge Oval Rec Center. So we came up with an underused area right next to the rec center that will be perfect for us to install the pickleball courts. The job will be done in-house, and it will be great. It will benefit the community. We would have a lot of people that will be happy. Pickleball has been becoming a popular sport, so we think this will be a great thing for us to do.
All right, do we have slides or anything that we?
Yes. Do you want me to share the screen?
Yes, Jade, are you there? Jade? Okay, can you
I
put
could-
up,
Yeah, I could. I think I could. Let me see. I think I could share my
see if
screen.
you could share?
Yeah. Full screen. Give me a second. Oh, it says that host disabled.
Okay, Jade, who's the host? Jade?
Right.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Jade?
I'm trying to
Okay,
edit it, but let me see.
see if you can get it.
Are you
up.
able to share your screen now?
Let me see. Oh, yeah, I can now.
Okay, good. Go ahead,
Okay,
Catherine.
perfect.
Okay, let me share. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
So this is just a little, I took a screenshot of the map at Williamsbridge Oval. And this green square right here, this is the area where we're thinking about putting the 2 pickleball courts. This is a better, you know, a rough draft of what they came up with. Right here, this black line that you see here would separate the 2 pickleball courts. And on each side where you see the pink, there will be 2 gates, which will prevent the, you know, the balls from like going out to the other side of the park. And then the green will be the nets. And the good thing about the pickleball courts is that they don't take as much space as tennis courts do. So we were thinking about the space because it's a multi-purpose play area and it's very underused. And this other slide shows you examples of pickleball courts that we've done in other parks in-house. So.
Very good. Catherine, how long would it take the Parks Department to get these courts in place to be used?
Probably it depends, but I think probably like 2-3 weeks.
Oh, so they would have it for the spring and summer season?
Yep.
Oh, that
Yep.
would be wonderful.
Yep. Be great.
Okay, we have a few.
Especially it's easier because since it's being done in-house, we don't have to, it's not a capital project. So
Oh, wow. That's a
yeah.
great idea. It's so popular today.
It is.
Okay, Betty, you have a question and then you go. Betty?
Oh, here I am. Yes, thank you,
Okay.
Catherine.
You're welcome.
The area, is that where, like, near the skate park? Is that area near the skate park?
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to make sure I understood the location. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you go ahead.
Is that the basketball area in the park?
No, the basketball. So it's are you able to see my screen right now?
Yes, I
Yes.
see it now.
So the basketball courts are on the other side, like
Okay.
more, it's near this area that we're planning on. It's a multi-purpose area. So it's flat pavement. There's nothing there right now.
What did people do there at that multi-purpose area in general?
I
They
honestly
play
wouldn't.
baseball. A lot of baseball gets played.
Okay. All right. Thank you,
Also
Serial, for
volleyball-
letting me know.
Also
'Cause I'm not sure.
volleyball
Okay.
sometimes, cricket.
True.
So that's how multi-purpose it is. But it's pretty large, you know.
Yeah, it's huge. And if you see this picture right here, we wouldn't be taking.
All of it, okay.
Yeah, no, there will
great.
still be a lot of space. Yes, left.
So people still have room to play cricket and volleyball in there?
Yes. Yep.
So,
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good.
You're welcome.
AJ, you have a question?
Yes, I actually learned how to rollerblade there. Some of us aren't as advanced to use the skate park. And I know specifically in that corner by the gate, the Latin community plays tons of soccer matches there. I don't want to chase them out for a different community. They claim that, especially with the Bronx Buccaneers, they'll come over and take the field. So there is no place to play soccer. And with the destruction of Marshall Parkway Center medians where people used to play soccer, this is the one place they actually found like refuge. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Catherine, I want to thank you for not taking over the tennis courts as a tennis player. It's so
I
good
know.
to see that there will
know.
be a separate area there.
Yeah, thank you,
Right.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Good. All right, so hopefully we'll see this come the late spring or summer. Thank you for letting us know about it.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move the agenda to a presentation by the American Institute of Architects. I believe we have Joseph Corbin on. Joe, are you with us?
Yes, thank you, Barbara. Thank you
Okay.
for inviting us. I'm also joined by David Russo, who comes from the American Society of Landscape Architects.
Oh, okay.
Hello. Yeah, so we just wanted to present a little bit of our early findings and about why we're here and what we're up to. So as Barbara mentioned, I'm Joe Corbin. I'm the Assistant Director for the American Institute of Architects New York chapter. We're the oldest and largest chapter of the oldest and largest association that represents architects here in New York City. And David, probably ASLA New York is probably the oldest and largest of the chapters for Americans for landscape architects. And midway through the pandemic, both of our organizations saw a strong need for design professionals such as landscape architects and architects to step up and serve in providing more pro bono work to communities in need and who have spaces that may be a little underutilized or spaces that could be seen for or looked at for potential improvement. And so David was working at the Botanical Gardens and through connections was connected with the Friends of Moshley Parkland. I see Elizabeth is here. Hi, Elizabeth. And we noticed that the parkway is a really wonderful parkway, but it was, let's say, kind of in need of with a lot of people, new buildings coming in. We anticipated, and I think we all probably noticed that there's going to be an increased demand for public spaces. We were just discussing the pickleball versus keeping the space in question already, and we're going to be seeing more questions and debates like that moving forward as the population in the area grows. So we decided to work with the Friends of group and to contact and develop relationships with the landscape architecture departments at the Parks Department and with the DOT to suggest that we should work together to develop a master plan for Moshley Parkway into the fairly near future. So a master plan that extends to about 10 years. So we're just here to kind of to show the research that we've done and the engagement sessions that we've done up to this point. So is it okay if I share my screen?
Yes, definitely.
Great. Let me go ahead and do that. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, great, thank you. So yeah, as stated before, we're coming from the American Institute of Architects New York chapter. That's the red thing at the bottom left, ASLA New York at the top left. But I didn't mention a newer partner that's joining us more recently. It's a landscape/engineering firm called Stantec, who are willing to donate their time and services to do analyses on the parkway. And currently the team consists of myself, David, the folks from Stantec, as well as other volunteers who are retired architects and urban planners. There's one involved member named Damu Redeshwar, some urban designers working at Perkins Eastman, and also graduate students at Columbia University and other folks who are working in other architectural firms. So definitely want to acknowledge the work that people are already providing. So at this point, we have done multiple site visits of the area. We've done, since late 2020, have done about, I'd say 7 or 8 in-depth site visits, walking the entirety of the parkway in daytime, nighttime conditions, noting a lot of the issues that I think were kind of sort of referenced actually when I was overhearing it in this meeting, with basically a lot of plantings that have been happening in ad hoc ways. What we see here on some of these in these pictures, a lot of desire lines, which is people walking the pathways the way that the pathways that they create rather than the sidewalks that have already been paved out. And noting a lot of conditions along the parkway, and including flooding issues and other traffic and safety issues and lighting issues, and an assortment of things that from like a designer's end that we've noticed. And we have been sort of summarizing and noting our findings as kind of an illustrated in that left-hand side. But we really want to make sure that this is a fully engaged process. So we conducted about 150 one-on-one interviews with residents walking along the parkway over the late fall 2021 into the summer months of last year, where we had simple, quick interviews with people, kind of illustrated. This is just one example of folks asking them, why are they going through Mosholu? What are your priorities for Mosholu Parkway if it were to be improved? Getting information about folks' demographics and kind of understanding what their pathways are. Why are you crossing? Are you crossing? What do those things look like? And we've been documenting those results. But acknowledging too that there's still more to do. This kind of summarize on a very, very high level what those findings from those interviews were, what are the activities that people are doing when they are utilizing the Mosholu Parkway space. As you can imagine, majority of it is definitely sort of commuting or passing through, but a very noteworthy amount of people definitely using it for sitting and relaxing. It's noted before, a lot of people used to be using these spaces more for sports, but it's still used quite a bit for play, picnics, and so on and so forth. And also getting a general level about priorities on seeing basically a very, very even distribution of priorities based around socializing or sitting areas, priorities of recreation, fitness, priorities for walking, priorities for gardening and planting. It seems that the community has a strong desire for a lot of those things almost equally. And we do have those details drilled down by the demographics that we gathered, but I just wanted to share the high level details that we gathered for this quick presentation. But beyond those quick interviews that we had, we definitely wanted to make sure that we engaged with the community further, and will continue to do so as well. We then scheduled 3 specific site-based visioning sessions. The first was happening on Jerome Avenue Plaza. That was in October of last year. Then at the Circle of Friends area, more in the central area of the parkway, and then close to the World War I monument, closer to the Botanical Gardens or by the police station. So we had those 3 sessions. We were very lucky that they were all on really beautiful, wonderful days, where we had these boards to get a good sense of what folks wanted, people's understanding people's familiarity with the park, where are the problem areas with the park? Where are the good areas of the park? What could these areas that we're already looking at, how can they be used? How can they be changed? What's realistic? What's aspirational? Really asking broadly about a lot of those topics. And we had the opportunity, after being in those spaces for 2-3 hours or so, to really have long conversations with about 100 people who did show up to those sessions. And it was kind of like those interviews before. Some people were knew about these sessions and came volitionally. Others were walking by. So we had a lot of folks who stayed engaged with us for a long time on their days off. And we really appreciated getting all of that input. And just kind of, again, on a very, very high level, understanding what those issues are and what those beloved places are. This just sort of very, a very high level, sort of summarizes those findings. What are the special places that people are noting? Meaning, like, what are the places that I think that it probably indicates that we want to keep, or the community wants to keep, and what are the places that really need some improvement? And so we were definitely hearing the gully closer to the close to, also known as the Fairy Garden, that's kind of close to the police station. Definitely a highly beloved place. We were noticing that a good liking of those dogwoods in the median sections and whatnot, but also wanted to acknowledge the constraints that we were hearing. Definitely a lot of issues that we were hearing about trash litter, pests, issues related to maintenance, issues related to crime issues. Apologies for not drilling down the other section that you see kind of at the top there. Those go into some lighting issues and whatnot, but also noting that there were a lot of issues related to parking, and we can definitely drill those other issues down when we have a more robust report ready for you all. But yeah, that's just on a very high level, sort of what our initial findings are. Moving forward, what we're doing is we are planning to meet with the Friends of group, and further, and meeting with the Parks Department and meeting with the DOT to sort of showcase those findings in a little bit more detail, and to incorporate those findings and to come up with a few ideas and suggestions on concepts about how these problems might be able to be addressed. And we would definitely love to follow up with the community board in the near future once those findings and then concepts are drilled down. And we would love it if you were available to give comment to those suggestions fairly soon, as we are working now that we've kind of acquired a lot of information. We are going to be working for basically the rest of this month to unpack that information and to start creating some concepts for the community to react to.
Okay, Joseph, certainly include Community Board 7 in any of your findings or concepts, so that we will be able to comment on them as well.
Absolutely.
And my next question would be, how do you plan to get funding for the concepts once they're established and whatever?
So we're agreeing to do the master plan pro bono. And so the master plan itself is the product. So the goal is for this plan to be something in a time horizon of something that could be achievable in 10 years, and that's something that could be activated lot by lot by lot through individual grant writing, done in coordination with the Friends of Mosholu and in agreement with the DOT and with the Parks Department. So the product that we're prepared to make, we're giving that to you.
If I can chime in for a second too, our impression is that the agencies, since it's co-owned land, they need to agree on a master plan in order for a potential capital project to happen. And when we met with DOT one time and talked about what our intention was, and they were very happy because they felt like sometimes it's hard to get all the agencies on board with a plan. So they can't, really put capital project in place if all the agencies don't agree on it. So they see us as a catalyst to bring the agencies together. And once you have a master plan that all the agencies agree on, then there's the potential after that for them to develop a capital project.
That's good, definitely. Thanks,
I
Andy.
noticed Mike Ortiz is on from Parks. Mike, do you have a comment? Have you been a part of what's being prepared or?
Hi, Nancy. Sorry. Hi, Barbara. I believe David Russo has reached out, has been in contact with our Chief of Design, Nancy Prince, on this. I think, we should definitely come back around, and I would love to have another meeting with you guys and discuss this. Again, I know that we are historic, the person who oversees our historic parks, which we consider Mushroom Parkway one of, had retired, and we just have somebody new who took on the role. So we would love to put you guys in contact with, Joseph and David. So, we of course want to be part of the project, and we should really talk offline.
Sure, that'd be great. I know that Nancy assigned us to Imelda Bernstein, I think is her name. So
Yeah.
she's going to be coming to this our next session for sort of us debriefing them.
Wonderful.
Mike, would you like to be involved, Mike? If you send your contact info, we'd be happy to share it with you.
Sure. I believe I was on some of the original emails as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a little while. I can definitely follow up on that.
Sure. I'll put my email in the chat again.
And please keep us abreast, because I know the Friends reached out to you, but they're not the only group on the Parkway that is very interested in what happens there. So please reach out to us, and we could reach out to some of the other groups that. All right, do we have some questions? Anybody from the Parks Committee have a question? All right, then we'll go to Chad. Go ahead, Chad.
Yes, hi, good evening again. So I wanted to ask, I don't know if the location was inclusive of the Bronx Victory Memorial, but I'm just wondering if that has been considered, since that area, the monument's been there for some time, and only recently have we gotten some more involvement in folks keeping the memory of the monuments and the appearance of the monument alive. I'm just wondering if that's been inclusive as far as perhaps beautifying the area or creating some boundaries that makes it more visitor friendly.
Could you specify which monument you're talking about?
Bronx Victory Memorial is in the middle of Marshall,
yeah,
but it's on Marion Avenue, is a cross street.
Yes, so I do know, actually, I know that David Rosas was bringing that up to us from the Friends of Marshall about that. So that's a good question. I would imagine that since we haven't really drafted the concepts for the master plan, the concepts that we would be going after would be a little bit more broad. It's not necessarily about like beautification about specific spots, but I'm definitely taking the note that it's not that is, we definitely know that this memorial is a highly regarded and beloved space in the parkway, and should not be necessarily disturbed, and should instead be improved upon. So it definitely is a key element to the master plan in terms of certain spaces that absolutely need to be preserved, and that's kind of what we're working on with the master plan.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we have one more hand up. AJ, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Was the Americana Homestays involvement with Friends of Marshall Parkway disclosed to you or the survey participants? And I wanted to know what was the board's involvement with this, as Friends of Marshall is not affiliated with them, as some are members of both. Per the city charter and conflicts of interest law, they can't vote and they would have to recuse themselves.
Okay.
I'm afraid you're going to have to get explain some of the topics that you made.
I'm sorry, the Americana Homestay, they came first. They moved to the neighborhood, then they started Friends of Marshall Loop Parkland. It's a private business. They're not really residents. I've brought it to the board before. Was that disclosed to you at all or to any of the survey participants?
No, but we're not seeking to get votes or anything to that degree.
Right.
This 10-year plan, would that not be coming to the board at some point for a vote though?
Definitely.
This will be coming to the community board,
Yes.
certainly,
So
absolutely.
should that not have been
I
disclosed
certainly
to you
hope
in the
that
survey?
in the near future, when you have these meetings, you will include us too. That's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good.
And to disclose the involvement, that's the major issue here. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right, do we have any other questions? We thank you so much for coming out and for volunteering your time also to do this. And we look forward to some very interesting drawings, and hopefully it will mean that the parkway is going to look beautiful and stay green. That's the big question. Green, as much greenery as possible. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Okay. All right, we'll move the agenda. Recreation centers are next. I believe we have Cheryl on from St. James Park. Go ahead.
Hi, yes, I am here with everyone. At this time, I don't have any major updates as far as the projects, the renovation projects at St. James. So I won't be able to really speak much on that. I do have a site visit tomorrow, which, you know, that is a good thing. So as soon as I get more information, I can pass it along to the community board. We will be planning outdoor programming for the spring and summer as we have done in the past. So if the community has any particular interest of the types of programs and events that they would like to see this year, I'm open to it. You know, I'd love to hear, you know, what the needs are so that we can better serve the community. So I'm always open to that.
Okay.
So I can put my email in the chat and anyone can just email me and let me know what their thoughts are.
Cheryl, do you have the funding for the renovations of the center at this point?
That has gone out to bid, so it is moving forward, but we just don't have that info to share right now.
Okay, so it's at the bid. Okay, thank you.
Right.
All
Okay.
right. All right, we'll move on, Sarah, for Williamsbridge Oval.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good, it works this time. So we have some upcoming events during the winter school break. We're doing a Winter Olympics Monday through Friday, 12 to 3 that week. So there's a lot of different activities happening, and it's a great way for keeping the kids engaged during that school break.
Right.
And we are also offering a Valentine's Day tea party, which is on Valentine's Day at the center. And it's open to the public. I mean, it's geared for adults and seniors. And we are scheduling, even like Shirley said about spring and summer, we have some upcoming events. Like we're settling back in the Shakespeare mobile unit. I think some people remember that they used to come here and do performances. They're going to be doing that again, actually outside. So we're looking at May for a date for that. And we are also doing our, of course, spring egg hunt, April 8th. And we're planning for a spring arts festival in June. So, you know, we're always looking again to partner with people. So if anyone's interested, feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much. All right. Any other questions for the rec centers? All right, we get to the reports from the friends. Elizabeth, are you still on? Do you have
Most
anything?
definitely am. I'm still on, not gonna be.
Okay, good.
So right now we are working out our garden, the edible garden on the other side, and we have already started with volunteer cleanup on Marshall Loop Parkway.
Oh, great.
But that's about it. Because of the weather, we're going by what the temperature is, and we are taking the cleanups week by week.
Okay, good. Thank you. And Toby, do you have anything to report for DeVoe
Yes,
Park?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Today, I requested a special events permit so that we can try and get the Playmobil for a couple of Saturdays in the park. We're referring to it as Let the Summer Games Begin. And I believe we got additional funding for our pollinator program. And what we're looking for right now is a young person that may be able to help us navigate the internet for us as a volunteer. So that's where we are right now. And we're scheduled to have our meeting next week.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Okay.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
Do we have any other representatives from parks throughout CB7? Okay, all right, we'll move on.
Barbara, I just wanted to tell everybody I put my my new phone number in the chat.
Oh, okay, I'll check
All
it
right.
out. Okay, thank you, Joe. Under other, I would like very much to thank Parks. I don't know who was responsible, whether it was Joe or somebody else or whatever, for the great job they did in cleaning up the area from Webster to Marion Avenue, both sides of the parkway. It was a mess about a month ago, and it's well cleaned, swept, whatever, both in the park, on the sidewalk, and it's 100% better. So thank you, Joe, or whomever else is on from Parks, whoever had anything to do with it.
I'll let my staff know.
Yes,
to let me
please
know.
do that.
You got it.
Okay. Joe, I think I brought this up to your attention before. The pillar that was knocked over on the upside of the parkway in the westbound lanes near the police station. It was evidently a drunken driver. He was arrested or whatever. Can that be taken care of in-house, or
Yeah,
how do
so-
you go about getting it fixed?
Yeah, so like we spoke through the email, I had let you know. We're gonna, it's a big job and we want to make sure it's done right. So we're working with the insurance company to get them to pay for the repair, to fix the work. So it's in the works.
Okay, so this is the insurance company of the perpetrator?
Correct.
Okay, good. All right, fine. Thank you. All right, do we have any questions about maintenance? While we have Joe here. All right, one thing I wanted to show all our park lovers, and I'll put it up. Okay, each year we have what is called Bronx Park Speak Up. This is the 29th year that this is going on. It's for park lovers. It's going to be on Saturday, February 25th at Lehman College, and it runs from 11 to 5. They usually serve a nice lunch around 12 o'clock, and they have a general session with speakers and whatever, and then they break up into smaller groups. So if you are a park lover, please mark your calendar and attend the event. It's free, including the lunch. So come out and find out what's happening in the Bronx parks. Okay, do we have anything else that anyone would like to bring up relating to parks, being that we have Joe on? All right, next month we will be meeting, I believe the date is March 8th. Does anyone from the committee have a suggestion as to what topics you would like us to cover? We'll be getting closer to spring, so I'm sure we will have some questions for staffing for Joe. Hopefully our numbers will be up. All right. No ideas from anyone. Okay, well.
Oh, you said, you asking about the numbers, you said, Barbara?
Yes, next month. We'll give you the next month.
I can't give you a definite next month, but as soon as I find out that we get a bump in the numbers, I'll let you know
Okay.
immediately.
That's great. Thank you. Chad, is that your hand up?
Yes, it is.
Go ahead.
One question related to the VO. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of motorcycles and scooters ride the bikes inside the VO. And I'm just wondering if we could get some additional traction on monitoring that situation.
Yeah, Chad, this is a well-known issue throughout the Bronx, and park enforcement is aware of it. They occasionally do sweeps with PD. It's a known thing. It's everywhere. It's not just the VO. I know you know that, but yeah, I mean, we do what we can, but it's a widespread problem throughout the borough, throughout the city, not even just the borough.
Got you. And my other question is about the rec center in the Oval. Does anyone happen to know if the membership is still free or are they charging now?
Sarah, you're on. Sarah? I guess we lost her. Sarah? Well, I'll find out.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
How would you say it? Can you-
Membership fees, Sarah, we have a question.
Sure.
Have they gone back to charging? Because I know it was free during COVID and all. What's going
Yes.
on now?
So the last time it was free was up until January 2021. So, yes, December 2021. So starting in January 2022, they started charging again. And basically the memberships are $50 for 6 months for a regular adult. That allows you to go to any other rec center in the city. To go to one with a pool, there is no pools now in the Bronx. But it would be $75 for 6 months. And then the discounts are for seniors 62 and over, people with disability, and veterans are $25 for the year. And then 24 and younger is free.
Darn, I missed the deadline.
Okay,
sorry.
thank you.
Thank
Okay, I thank everybody for attending the meeting tonight. And if you have any ideas or issues that you would like to bring up, please email me and we'll put it on the agenda for next month, all right? Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
I'm sorry, Barbara, before we close, I'm sorry that it just dawned on me. The whole issue around forestry and all those that we're trying to collect on the trees, on the street, can we try to consolidate that through or up to the office?
Yes, definitely. And please CC me on any of the information also. So I have a record of it. Send it to the office, but CC me on it also, Betty.
Okay, no problem.
Okay?
We just want to make sure that everyone does that, you know, that it's
Right. So we can get a list together.
correct.
Okay, do we have a motion to close the meeting?
Barbara, do you mind if I step?
Something's happening.
Wait a minute, something happened.
Barbara, it's Toby. I just wanted to bring up 2 things regarding DeVoe Park, if it's not too late.
No, go ahead.
One, the corral is broken, so I wanted Joe to know, and I'll also let Clinton know. And 2, DeVoe Park was supposed to get a hopscotch and a Skelzies on the ground, and we still have not gotten that. And I know that's not a capital expense, so if you can please help us, Joe, get that for us for the summer, so that can be part of our welcome, you know, to summer.
Sure.
event.
When I'm in the office tomorrow, I'll see Clinton in the morning and I'll let him know. And you know, you guys can show.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay,
Yeah, no
Toby, can you just repeat your second request? What was it that you needed for DeVoe?
What we wanted in DeVoe is a hopscotch and a Skellies.
Oh, the
down
hopscotch,
on
okay.
the ground,
Yes.
because the children in the community put it down in chalk, and we just want it to be a permanent fixture there because they use it.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. All right, do we have a motion to close the meeting?
I motion we close the meeting.
I second.
Okay,
Seconded by Gwen.
okay.
Seconded by Gwen.
Seconded was Gwen, okay.
Yes.
Betty. Okay, thank you, everybody, for
All right, Serial.
joining us tonight, and thank you, Valerie,
Thank-
and thank you,
Serial.
Joe.
The Serial still there?
Yeah,
Serial.
Joe, yeah.
Serial's still
Listen,
there.
give me a ring on that number tomorrow. We'll catch up.
Your number didn't come up on the
Yeah,
chat.
it didn't come up.
Hold on,
No,
hold
it
on, hold on.
didn't.
Yeah, it's
Hold on.
somehow it's locked out or something.
Yeah, it's not on the
Uh,
chat. if
You see,
can give
you
it to
called
us.
on me, Joe. You got 2 piles of leaves in front of the monument that have
All
been here
right.
for a week that no one has swept up.
I'm seeing it that Jay Guzman of Bronx CB7. Okay. Hold on. Jay, can you toss that up? Are you still on?
718.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's
718, go
not up in
ahead.
the chat.
Our chat is closed due to previous things that have happened
People were
the
tossing things
meeting.
up.
So
All
we're
right,
keeping our chat closed till further notice.
Okay,
all right,
can you give us the number then,
does anybody-
718
Yeah. No. It's a 332
332,
268
yes,
0366.
0366.
What a number.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, it's a weird, no, they gave me a new phone with a new number. It messed everything up.
Okay.
But
Okay,
yeah, so Serial, call me in the morning. We'll catch up. I haven't talked to
Okay.
you.
no problem. And Joe,
All right.
just a question, the Webster House, I know they're repairing it, but any date on or month that they're gonna be having it fished so the people could be back there?
Oh, I got no idea. I'll
Okay,
check
that's
the
cool.
Capital Tractor, but I don't have, but we'll talk more tomorrow.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, brother.
All right,
Okay,
everybody. Have a
thank
good
you,
one.
everybody. Thank you, Joe.
Barbara,
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Good
Barbara,
night,
can you hear me?
everyone.
Barbara, can you hear me? It's Tasha. I'm sorry. My connection was lost. I don't know if my question about the fields being
Oh,
lined.
right, yes, before you go, Joe,
What was the question?
the question is,